And boy, oh boy, what can I say? What more can I say? Monday Night Football last night. Raiders beat Packers 17-13 on Monday Night Football in an ugly game to improve to 2-3. The Raiders, though, last night it was just absolutely hilarious how this team was able to put themselves in position to really, still kind of be relevant right now in the league, but I don't think that's going to help the Raiders moving forward. That they're going to be, a team that you can really, bank on to be somebody that's going to be really good in the NFL this year. They could be a team that makes you a little bit of money on the weekend as a spread as a high spread bet, something like that, or catch the Raiders on one of these good weekends in Vegas where they have one of these great close games that they always have and stuff like that because it's pretty much an entertainment thing with them when it's in Las Vegas. So there's just a lot of things that you say to yourself, and you say that, hey, there's things that we can really do here that can be for the positive, but with Josh McDaniels there, I don't think there's going to be anything positive coming out of this situation until he's actually not the coach of the team anymore. But let's get into the numbers of this game last night that ended week five of the NFL season. And week five was a pretty, it was kind of a formful week in a sense. There were some covers and stuff like that, but a lot of the teams that were supposed to win did win this weekend. And there were a few upsets, but divisional games, sometimes that doesn't count as teams having an upset. But when you look at the numbers last night, Jordan Love, 16 for 30, 182 yards, three picks, sacked twice last night. Probably his worst game of the season, 32.2 QBR. That was just a very rough game for him last night. And there's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. You look at the numbers, you see Dylan had himself a pretty good game last night, 76 yards on 20 carries. And then also Watson had himself three catches, 91 yards. He actually could have absolutely crushed the Raiders last night, but they just couldn't take advantage of that situation, and it just came back to bite him in the butt later on down the road. Jimmy G wasn't much better, but he went 22 for 31 for 208, completed 71% of his passes, had an 86.5 QBR as well, too. He threw a touchdown, threw a pick, was sacked three times. Josh Jacobs still struggling, 69 yards on 20 carries, but he did score a touchdown last night, which was key and huge towards this win last night as well, too. Also, Jacoby Myers led all receivers last night with 7 receptions, 75 yards as well, too, for the Raiders. Not all receivers, but all the Raider receivers. And Devontae Adams, he had 4 targets last night, had 45 yards. It seems like his yardage is shrinking by the game, and that's something that's probably going to be bothering this guy moving forward as well, too. And Max Crosby got in on the action last night with a nice sack as well, too. So it was a very, very close game throughout, and it wound up coming down to who was able to close the game, and that wound up being the Raiders who closed the game out in a significant fashion. And Green Bay just couldn't get anything going in the late stages of the game, and they wound up getting stalled out at the Raiders 35 last night because Jordan Love threw an interception with 51 seconds left to go in the game, and that was about it. But Josh Jacobs does score the go-ahead touchdown to get the Raiders this win. When you break down the stats of this game, straight up, you have the Raiders winning the first down battle. They won the third down battle as well, too. Both teams were 100% on fourth down. The Packers had more yards, 285 to 279 last night. The Raiders had 183 in the air after sacks, and then also you had 110 on the ground for the Packers. When it came down to running plays, the Raiders ran 64 to the Packers 57 last night. And then when it came down to time of possession, the Raiders were on the field 32-34, while the Packers were on the field for 27-26. And when it came down to the penalties, both teams were kind of good in that department, but you had 3 coming on the Packers, and then you had 4 on the Raiders last night as well, too. But the Raiders gave up 4 sacks, and that's something that's just something that they're going to have to clean up, and they're going to have to clean that up very fast, in my opinion. So with that, that's going to be a wrap on a pretty good game, but all in all, it was a really hard game to watch. I like these low scoring games, but when they're hard to watch, they're just hard to watch.